Hello everybody, this is Your Life, My Hands. Welcome back to another cooking video. This one's going to be pretty short overall, but I want to get into one of my favorite cooking methods, and I do apologize for the close-up of this video, but it's a little bit difficult on the countertop. So what I have here is some chicken breast that I have butterflied. These are not done incredibly well. They were kind of small, and depending on how you butterfly them, you may get little breaks in the chicken like that, but for the intended purpose of what I'm going to be doing with this chicken, it's perfectly fine. The entire goal of what I'm doing here is I'm going to dry brine these chicken breasts. Dry brine is a very simple method. It's a wire rack over a tray, or you can use the inside of a air fryer, the little lifters off the bottom, little metal kind of trays in the air fryer. You can use that too. And dry brining is just two things. It's the chicken, it's salt, and the last thing is just time in the fridge uncovered. Now, when you dry brine something, it's going to pull moisture out of the chicken as a initial reaction. And you may be saying, but why would I ever want to pull moisture out of a chicken? Because you want a juicy chicken. When you dry brine, the salt will pull the moisture out through osmosis, but some of that moisture is going to be reabsorbed back into the chicken as the salt penetrates into the meat. This changes some of the protein structures, and I'm sure there's far more scientific things that you could get into with it, but it changes it, and the basis of it is that it's going to increase the flavor of the chicken so that you're going to have a far more intense chicken flavor within the chicken. So the best way I can describe it is like, okay, if you cooked a fresh chicken breast just as is and ate it, it would taste like a chicken breast. But if you dry brine it, you almost get like the level of chicken flavor that you get out of like canned chicken. So it's pretty cool, and also it allows the meat to maintain its juiciness as the salt has reincorporated with the juices, and it holds on to the moisture level that is left in the chicken much better. So even though you may cook it a little more aggressively, or you maybe slightly overdo it, it'll still maintain an excellent flavor and level of juice in it. So really cool. It's become the only way I'm going to eat chicken pretty much from here on out. Like when I make chicken, it goes through this. So these things have been butterflied. These are all going to get chopped up later, so I'm not worried about how good it is. You don't have to butterfly them. Like tomorrow when I actually do the cooking of it, you'll see the reasons that I go and butterfly it. But salt. Now, best thing I can say is that when you go to actually salt these things, you are looking for an even coating, and I'm hoping the camera's close enough that you can kind of see it. You are putting it on every orifice of the chicken, every little area, nook and cranny you can get it on. And you don't need an incredible amount, but you are putting a decent amount of salt. Like, you should look at that and be like, wow, I would never have salted fresh chicken that much if I was going to eat it, because that's too much salt. Yes, but when this reincorporates through it, when you're done with this, you don't have to salt it when you eat it. So you do it on one layer. I'm going to flip it, and I want it to be left on the inside side up. And I'm going to go through and just dust it with salt. It's very simple, all across there, and that one's done. Now, what you're going to notice when this goes back into the fridge uncovered is that you're going to start seeing moisture pool up on the chicken, which is a good sign, as it's pulling through osmosis the liquid out of it and the juices out of it. And then at some point, it depends on how big of a chicken it is. Is the chicken breast whole? Is it butterflied? You're going to notice that the layer of moisture kind of gets reabsorbed. It's gone. So I can do this pretty lightly because these things are butterfly and we're getting a lot of surface area of the chicken covered. If this was like really large, just non-butterfly breast, then you may want to go ahead and salt it a little bit more. And timing wise, it really depends. I have found personally that overnight just works great for chicken. Like, you just dry brine it overnight, throw it in a bag, and you're good to cook with it, or cook it immediately. Some people say 1 hour is great. Some people say 24 hours is great. Anything above 24 hours, it's not going to hurt the chicken. Sometimes they say the meat can get a cured-like texture of this if it goes too long. Personally, I just do it overnight, and then I'll throw them in a bag, and I'll cook them whenever I want to, which will be tomorrow when I go in and make the meal for the rest of the video. But that's literally it. You salt them, put them in the fridge, and when they come back out, I'll show you tomorrow, they kind of get like a tacky feeling on them. Very strange. They have a very weird texture to them almost, but they cook up beautifully and you're gonna see it tomorrow. So in the fridge, these will go for overnight. Kind of depends. When I wake up tomorrow, I'll just take them out, throw them in a gallon bag, and we'll go from there. So you guys will see it then. All right, welcome back everybody. So, chicken sat in the fridge overnight for about 12-ish hours. I would say I made it about 8 o'clock at night, and I took it out and put it in the bag at about 8 o'clock at night, or in the morning. So one of the interesting things about dry brine chicken that I'm gonna show you is one of the wilder things to me is the color that happens on it. So when you have dry brine chicken, it really modifies the color and gives it a very deep, rich look to it. And it's just beautiful in my opinion. So the pan has been preheating here for a little bit. I have it on a pretty medium high-ish heat, so 7 out of 10 essentially on my oven. Results vary. So when you're doing butterfly chicken breasts, they're very thin. There's a lot of surface area here to work with, which is kind of nice about it. So what you'll see is for about 3 minutes aside, I'm gonna cook this, and you're gonna see a really nice crust develop when I go to flip this and when I take it off. The more surface area, the more crust you can develop. So one weird thing about the dry brine chicken breast is that it doesn't burn. I'm not sure how, but it will not burn even under high temperature. And when you leave it, you put it in, you don't touch it. So what I like to use is a little bit of Graza Sizzle. This is the higher temp olive oil. And I think it works fantastic. Avocado oil works as well. If this was a full breast, you generally have to do it 6 to 7 minutes aside, depending on how big it is, or you can sear it and then put it in the oven to finish it off. But we're gonna go ahead and get both of these started here. Let me grab the other one out of the bag. So I have it ready to go, so they go on at roughly the same time. Don't be afraid to preheat your oven up pretty good, the stove top pretty hot, so that both of these, when they go in, don't cool it off too much. So I'm just gonna get some oil in this pan. We're gonna get it dropped in. It doesn't need a whole lot of oil. It's not gonna stick in the long run. And you just put that guy right down there like that. Make sure it's nice and even. Get the other one in here. Once I get it off of the bag. And both of those are just gonna sit there pretty much untouched. I'm sure it's a little loud with the frying sounds. But that's just gonna sit in there with a little cover on it for about 3 minutes aside. I'm gonna start a timer on my phone here. If it goes slightly over 3 minutes, the one beautiful thing about this is that the stuff will not, if you slightly overcook it, it's not gonna ruin it by any means. So 3 minutes aside, and you're gonna see what it looks like when it comes off. A high temp butterfly chicken breast is gonna sear and create a nice crust overall, all of it. And this is all gonna be chopped up and put into a meal, which you'll see here shortly. Very unique way of cooking chicken. A lot of things actually benefit from the salt brining, much like steaks, pork tenderloin, pork loin. Things that have a tendency to dry out really seem to enjoy the salt brining as a method to preserve the juices in it. So I'm gonna let this go, and you will see what the meal looks like when I assemble it here shortly. All right, so chicken's been going for about 3 minutes on this side, and I'm gonna lift this lid off, and you're gonna be able to see kind of what I'm looking for when I cook chicken like this. So when you take it off, what you're gonna see is that the edges are starting to turn white over here, right there, kind of on the back side a little bit. When it's butterfly, chicken breast does not take very long at all to cook. And really you just want to sit on each side long enough to build up a crust at a pretty decent temperature. So that's looking pretty much exactly where I want it to be, because when it goes over for their 3 minutes, it's only really gonna have to cook some of the thicker parts right here, on the back side. So I'm going to take this and put a little bit of oil on it. You can put it in the pan. I just put it on the chicken itself. But we're gonna do that. I'm gonna stab it. And what you'll see is this beautiful crust. It's really weird, kind of. It's like straight up chicken crust, if that makes any sense. It's wonderful, it's incredible, it's crunchy, it's got the most wonderful texture to it. Highly recommend it. Now we're gonna let that go for about another 3 minutes. generally just about 3 minutes exactly on the backside, because now the pan's heating back up after you put the cold chicken in there. And we're just gonna let it go. It'll cook up real nicely, take it off, and we'll let it rest on that cutting board for about 10 minutes. All right, so now we're at the point where we can go ahead and assemble a basic meal prep kind of dish for this thing. You know, depending on when you're cooking your chicken, I always like, as you can see here, the bottom side gets mixed results with the surface area of the chicken. The first side you put it on should always be that inside, because that's gonna build up the best amount of crust right there on the chicken. You're gonna get some really good results that way. So for a basic kind of like health food, as I'm gonna call it, or a decent meal prep that is like a protein-based, gym-based kind of like meal prep, this is what I would do. So here I made some Valencia or bomba rice. Paella rice is another good word for it. It's a little expensive, but I will say this rice has the best texture of any rice I've ever had. So for a 1 cup rice, you know, half or cup and a half of water, you make the very basic dish of it. It's nice, it's loose, it breaks up very freely. The texture of this particular kind of rice, hands down, is one of my favorite. I've really grown to like it. So we're gonna do rice and chicken, essentially. It's very good for my diet in particular. Obviously, this is a very, very basic health food overall. As if you're eating just chicken and rice, you're probably doing pretty good. So I'm gonna dice up the chicken, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the flavor of the chicken is just insane. It's so chickeny. Like the prominence of the chicken flavor is probably the favorite part about cooking it this way. Never mind the fact that it's just juicier than normal. It develops a very interesting texture overall, but it's so moist. And that's the best part about it. Like, you do it once, you'll never go back to any other way of eating chicken. So, one disclaimer, I like to use cast iron. It's my preferred pan for frying anything. However, if you only have something like a big old ceramic pan, that will work just fine. A nice high temp, good quality ceramic pan, that'll work out all right. I prefer cast iron. But any kind of pan that will allow you to get it really high up to temp is a really good choice. So what you do with this is completely up to you. The rice was made with a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of fish sauce, a little bit of rice wine vinegar, and then you just cook it normally. Not a whole lot going on with that. Now, if you're really trying to get your macros in, cook this in like some chicken bone broth or something. You're not gonna be wrong for that. I have a few chives and green onions that I have on my balcony that I grow. I'm just gonna chalk some of them in there. Can't go wrong with a little bit of green onion and chives, or a lot of it. I like a lot of it. Love my green onions and chives. And all this gets mixed in later. So I'm not even gonna worry about chopping up the chicken and, you know, making you guys watch that. It's cutting chicken. I'm sure you guys can figure that out. Lost most of my onions. I'll pick those up here in a minute. So you got some onions, you got some of there. What I'm gonna do with this one, I'm gonna put in some of my sun-dried tomatoes that I got from Costco. Nice little tomato flavor in there. The sun-dried tomatoes are very strong flavor. No need to go crazy with those. But what you do with it after that is completely up to you. So traditionally for me, I'm gonna chop up either one chicken breast or half a chicken breast and put it into each one of these. Totally depends. But my preferred is a little bit of sriracha, nice little drizzling across the top of it. And another thing I really like is a little bit of mayo. So I found that Graza, which is the one who makes the oil that I fried these in, came up with this thing. And they have their own mayonnaise and aioli and garlic. And they use fresh garlic in this one, not powdered or anything else like that. I got to try it today and it is amazing. I'm not sponsored, obviously, by any means, but incredible product. I love their stuff overall. And this one is like on the nose, garlic, mayo-y flavor, fantastic. And then you do a layer of that over there with the sriracha. You mix it all up and you have chicken and rice, but a much, much better version of it with a quality that cannot be beat. I love it. Other hot sauces you can do is like gochujang if you're into Korean, you know, chili sauce kind of stuff. Or you have like Chinese chilies garlic sauce. This stuff is also really good. All these are really good for your calorie intake, protein, carbs, whatever you're trying to go for. This is a super healthy meal prep. The chicken takes overnight. If you butterfly it, you crust it up, you cook it like that, and you're on your way. Very simple dish overall. One of my friends was curious about some of his different meals he could make for work and getting into shape and stuff like that. And this is one that I like to make for my own diabetic purposes, not even like super gym related or anything like that. But give this a shot. Dry brine your chicken, dry brine your pork tenderloin, dry brine your steaks. Try that out. And then once you go from there, you can do whatever you want. You do white rice, brown rice, whatever your preferred method is. The paella rice, bomba rice, Valencia rice, whatever you want to call it, is hands down my favorite. I'm not going to add this yet because I'm bringing this to work. So I won't have to reheat everything up in here. I'll just heat everything up so it's nice and hot and then put this on there. And hopefully it doesn't break down or anything like that with the heat. If you did put it on there now, it may kind of break down a little bit. Regardless, get creative with your food and your flavors and stuff like that, and you're going to be making a meal that you can eat day on and day out and really enjoy. So give it a shot. It's so fantastic. I promise you, if you do that with the chicken, you won't probably eat any other kind of chicken any other way. You can fry it, you can make nuggets out of it, you can do whatever you want to do. That's the simplest way, and it's really, really good. So hopefully everyone enjoyed. Take care, eat healthy, and we will talk to you all next time.